All in. And off and racing for our feature race of the day, the Group 3 Tattersalls Stakes. Rogue's Supremacy is fast into stride, heads over to the near side running rail. Early pace, however, is not that frantic. Other flank is Commander's Intent, red with the toothpaste sleeves, and between the pair, Special Dividend now moves over, and the white cap of Catallus. Distant Storm settled rather better this afternoon, actually last of all, in company with Northern Champion as they make their way through the first quarter mile. So spearheading the formation, Catallus in the centre, blue colours white cap, left-hand side Commander's Intent, isolated is Special Dividend, red and white colours of Rogue Supremacy, Northern Champion, red cap of Archer Royal, and the blue cap of Distant Storm as they're well bunched as they're making their way past the halfway stage. Catallus disputes the running with Commander's Intent, then Rogue Supremacy on the outside of Special Dividend. Archer Royal comes next, just pushed along is Distant Storm, moving towards the outside, and then the orange sleeve jacket of Northern Champion. Catallus continues to dictate with a quarter of a mile to go. In second is Commander's Intent, Archer Royal, Distant Storm on the left-hand side, trying to make some progress, and is now beginning to run on. Catallus it is, Distant Storm, produced on the outside, has made good progress and has come through to lead, and it's Distant Storm settled so much better this afternoon, and this is much more like the debut that worked out so well as he spread eagles them in the Tattersalls Stakes. Distant Storm by 4 lengths. Commander's Intent in second, Archer Royale, and Catallus in fourth.
Now that's like the promise that he showed on the July course on debut. Distant Storm has stamped his authority on the Somerville Tattersalls Stakes. 6-5 favourite, William Buick on board for Charlie Appleby, and there is Daylight in second. But second has gone to Commander's Intent, who's stuck to his task for James Doyle and George Scott. He's finished ahead of Archer Royal in third, and in fourth it was Catallus, who might well ideally want to drop back in trip. But dominance in the end, this horse with the fancy price tag has shown what he's capable of and settled a lot better than in the Acomb last time.
Yeah, and William Buick rode him with a lot of confidence. I think he felt there was a good horse underneath him as long as he got him to relax in the early part of the race. Up to halfway, it was all about just switching him off, keeping him settled and making sure that what happened at York didn't happen again. And for him to run down the field in the way that he has and then burst away is a really good performance, and a performance over and above what I might have expected he was capable of achieving, to be honest. So yeah, he's done it in an exciting way, hasn't he, to spread eagle them. A good effort from Commander's Intent in second. He is very honest and genuine and looks today like he's ready for a mile. He didn't handle the dip perfectly. No. At one point he took a little bit of a stumble and then he rallied back up the hill, and I'm sure he will stay a little bit further, and he's one to look forward to as well. Catallus mentioned pre-race about maybe dropping back in trip, and I would stand by that. I think he could be potentially a lethal 6-furlong horse for next season.
Yeah, he hasn't loved the dip either, to be fair. He's kind of tumbled down it a little bit, maybe his stamina beginning to come to an end, but he's got asserted at that point, but he's very quickly picked up by his stable companion Distant Storm, who gallops away. Archer Royal has built on his debut, on his first time on turf over there in the red cap.
Yeah, he has. He's run really well, and for a horse as green as he was first time up, he's against more professional horses. The winners had an extra race plus a breeze at preparation. The runner-ups had a lot of racing through the course of the season already. So Archer Royal has acquitted himself with a lot of promise, I think, and given the impression as well as Commander's Intent that he's ready for a mile, I think.
Special Dividend hasn't made much impact, had to race quite isolated. Northern Champion hasn't been able to get involved either. And Rogue Supremacy, it might be that he likes the all-weather.
Yeah. I mean, he did take really well to the all-weather, and that was a big step up at Kempton. So I wonder if that possibly suits him better than this job. Special Dividend just seemingly not quite up to the task at hand.
1.9 million euros the winner cost as a breeze-up horse, and he beat Constitution River, who's since gone on to win the Futurity over in Ireland at Group 2 level. Catallus was back in third on that debut. Too keen in the Acomb, and now he's got his career very much resoundingly back on track. He is 5-1 from 25-1 for the Dewhurst, which he is entered in. What price would you have him for the 2,000 guineas, and would you be interested? I suppose it's contingent on the price.
Yeah, I'm off the top of my head, I don't know what price he'd be for a guineas, but it's a performance that throws him into the ring, doesn't it? It puts him into contention.
He should stay it. It should be a mile should be well within his comfort.
I think a mile will be fine. He's clearly a talented horse, and it's a performance that at this stage merits him as a contender.
OK, well, Unibet have him at 14-1 for next year's 2,000 guineas, but I shall try to find out from Charlie Appleby whether it will be next stop Dewhurst. Distant Storm has just been an emphatic winner of the Group 3 Somerville Tattersalls Stakes. His trainer is Charlie Appleby. Congratulations. It looked like he was back to his professional self that he showed on the July course.
Yeah. Look, let's be fair, he wouldn't be the first horse of mine to go to the Acomb and get beat, as we know.
It's a good omen, perhaps.
Hopefully, yeah. But to be fair, that day, I take responsibility for that in respect to he was keen, and William was sort of felt that it might not have been the pace on that day, and he was keen to get a forward pitch. And I just remember rewinding it sort of 6 or 7 weeks earlier that we worked him on the front end, and he was very keen that day. And the only time he's ever has been keen, he's normally a very relaxed horse. And but anyway, the Acomb was what it was. He jumped, and he was too keen, and therefore did it all the wrong way round. That's why today you saw William drop in, and I said, win, lose or draw, William, just drop this horse in, let's just go back to where we started off. And I think we've seen a nice horse in the making.
What did William say when he came back?
Yeah, obviously he was very impressed, just delighted that he got the feel off him as he did in his maiden. He said he was just, admittedly, William had sat on him at home before as well, between these two races, but yeah, he said it was a straightforward assignment today. The questions obviously posed is, in respect to a Dewhurst, and we're both in agreement. He's a 3-year-old really, but a Dewhurst is just over 2 weeks away, and I do feel it's a sort of season that it could just throw up that sort of horse in a Dewhurst that might not have been obviously he's a group winner now, but I've said before the National Stakes, I felt that the National Stakes would potentially throw up a champion 2-year-old, and it probably has, to be fair, and full credit to them. And I'm sure they'll probably roll the dice in the Dewhurst, but with this horse, if he comes out of this well enough, and I see no reason why he shouldn't, and if the ground conditions were sound ground conditions, I'd be happy to take them on.
Now, Ruling Court was third in the Acomb as well, wasn't he?
That's correct, yes.
Yes. So, is this horse at the top of your potential Guineas horses at the moment as things stand?
Yeah, I would say he's definitely up there for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, Lydia, you know as well as I do, I'm a big believer in, any of those 2-year-olds that you put to bed generally that have been fortunate enough to win at group level in the autumn of their 2-year-old career are likely to hopefully be at the forefront of the betting of the Guineas. Of course, as we know, you can have a notable speech, and horses like that can come through and I need to say be a Guineas contender. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was a maiden. I'm not saying from our yard, but I do think it's a season where we might just see an unexposed 2-year-old that might just come to the fore as a 3-year-old.
Whereas Catallus, might you be inclined to go down in trip with him?
I thought the same, Lydia, when I watched it, but Alex Merriam went and saw Billy there, and Billy said no. He said we were just a little bit hassled on the lead there. He'd love to have dropped him in, but we couldn't see any pace in the race. So Catallus went and made it when he broke his maiden there at Yarmouth. So we were happy for him to go to the fore, but he said he'd be happy to drop him and stick to the same trip.
Is he a decent horse but a step below? What's your gut feeling about him?
Yeah, I'd say he is. On that evidence, needless to say, yes.
If he's not a sprinter.
No, exactly, yeah. And going back to sprinters, if I had to serve Catallus up in the morning with the likes of Words of Truth, yeah, he'd be a few lengths behind him. So, that's the difference between sprinting, as we are, sprinting and sevens to a mile. But I feel that he's just at a level over 7.
Talking about your colts then, 2-year-olds, you've got Wise Approach going for the middle park. How is he ahead of Saturday's target?
Yeah, he's in great nick. Look, I didn't actually think that we would be potentially participating on Saturday because I thought ground conditions would go against him, and he is very much a horse that I feel he wants the quick ground. The only negative I can give it is the track. I do think he's a very slick horse. He lowers, and that's why I was sort of keen to take our chance there in Deauville,
yes.
For the Prix-Mornay. I was sorry, a bit lost there for a minute. For the Mornay, and because I felt that the conditions there to suit him and the track would suit him. But I said the only thing is we'll always use it as an excuse, the dip. But and I thought about bringing him up here and giving him a gallop over the course there. But I just felt, well, we might just try and treat him with the element of surprise on Saturday. But he's in great order. Ground, as we know, is tightening up. And I think he reproduces anything like he did in the Prix-Mornay there. He's going to be hard to beat.
And Pacific Avenue for the Royal Lodge?
Yeah, looking forward to stepping him up to the mile. to be fair to him, obviously that maiden, or a novice he won at Newmarket, worked out very well. Therefore, we gave him a nice break. Went standing in testing conditions, and to be fair, probably 500 yards out, you thought the horse had gone and won. To be fair, but I'd imagine probably a bit of both, a bit of the ground and a lack of sort of hardened experience probably told in the end. Obviously, that race is working out in a fashion okay. Mm-hmm. So I feel that step up and trip and back on the sounder surface, we'll see a horse that should be very competitive on Saturday.
Okay. We've talked 2-year-old colts. You were strong with 2-year-old fillies this time last year. What are your 2-year-old fillies like this year? Yeah,
I've always, to be pretty honest with you, we've always felt that we weren't quite in the position as we were last year. And in respects to, is there a fillies mile filly? No. But Romantic Symphony won there last week. I feel she's a nice middle distance filly going forward. I think there's a couple of other fillies around her in that similar sort of profile. Hopefully, they've got to go and break their maidens yet. Obviously, we run a nice filly on Saturday there, the Sunni filly. She's an expensive filly, but she shows a lot of natural pace and hopefully class. But time will tell. We'll see on Saturday. If there was a miling filly, it would be her. As respects to Romantic Symphony, she's going to be filly. She's going to step up and probably go for the Montrose and then hopefully be a sort of middle distance filly for next year.
Okay, I look forward to seeing what the Sunni filly does this week. I'm really interested in Opera Ballo, who was such a brilliant winner of the Sir Henry the Cecil Stakes at the Jai course. Obviously wasn't able to run it good because of the ground. Joel Stakes. Are we going to see him launch, provided everything goes well in the Joel, at a big target this season, or are you still inclined to wait until he's full?
Without sitting on the fence too much, Lydia, I think let's just see what he does tomorrow. I mean, as a physical, he looks fantastic. I'm not going to get away. We're excited about him. He's a Gaff, and the Gaffs have got to go out there and doing it. But he's got to, he's sort of holding the mantle at the moment to hopefully go forward into the big league, potentially. But I can't get away. He excites us in the morning. He's physically done very well. The only thing is, I always have it in the back of my mind. His one disappointing run was here over the straight mile, and let's just hope that he has matured and he is maturing. Whatever he does tomorrow, if he happens to win tomorrow and we go on to bigger things after this, you won't see the finished article until next year for sure.
He'd have to be impressive to run in the QE2. Is that what I'm hearing? He'd have to really, really strut some stuff in order to be going to the QE2.
For sure, and also if it were to, as we know historically, be slow ground in the QE2, that would put a line for it, full stop. Because I do believe that Gaffs, they want a sounder surface. He wanted it himself, and so the big striding horse. I see no reason why they shouldn't.
And you're still absolutely no to the Breeders' Cup.
100%. I think we've got
just
that
checking.
covered.
Just checking. I have asked you before. I was just checking. We'll see whether things have changed. And finally, on an American note, at Belmont, you've got Rebels Romance and El Cordobés both going together.
Yeah, both shipped over there last week in good order in Saratoga. They do the ship up on tomorrow, Friday. Sorry, no, Thursday tomorrow. Friday. Sorry. Yeah. They're shipping up to Belmont. Tomorrow, both in great order. Two different types. Obviously, an old man there who's been there and done it, and some younger legs in El Cordobés that you couldn't be more, not saying impressed, but happy with the way he did it in the Sword Dancer. But I do feel, with El Cordobés, there is a romance. There is the old boy in front there that he'll take a bit of pegging back. It's not a nation's pride. He's got to try and claw down. He has got Rebels Romance potentially out in front of him.
I wasn't sure whether you were referring to Rebels Romance or Frankie Dettoria during that conversation.
I did say, lads, I've got Frankie Dettoria and Johnny V, so I've definitely got the oldest jockeys in the weighing room. But anyway, you can't be experienced.
You really can't. Very best of luck with that, and congratulations here. Best of luck for the rest of the week.
Brilliant, thanks, Lydia.
Thank you. Cheers.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.